Welcome to my first ever kite review video. In this video I will be comparing the F-One Trigger Brainchild with the Core Pace Pro. I will talk about looping, jumping and some other aspects of the kites. Both kites are known for their looping capability, so let's start with that. Note that I only recently started with looping, so I'm far from an expert and I'm still in the progressing phase. Here I'm riding the 7-meter Pace Pro in the most epic spot of the world, Guru, in Brazil. This kite is super good to do your first kite loops. It is fast and recovers very quick. It has a consistent pull through the loop, and even when your takeoff is not ideal, it still does not punish you. With the 7-meter you have to be careful not to oversteer the kite, because it's so fast. I reckon when doing loops with rotations, the 7-meter can be a bit tricky because of this. The next day I was on a 9-meter Pace Pro in a little less wind. I felt super comfortable again, although it was clearly slower. In hindsight I could have cranked the bar a bit more, but still it worked out perfectly and felt very safe to do the loops. So now let's get into the F-One Trigger. This time I'm in Ouddorp in the Netherlands. The wind was really light on this session, but still it worked out quite alright. Just like the Pace Pro, it's super fast and smooth in the loops. It will catch you no matter the height. I think the speed is similar to the Pace Pro. I felt super comfortable again, and also the kite is very forgiving. If you understeer it a bit or your takeoff is not ideal, the loop is still consistent and it will catch you almost on any height. When it comes to boosting, I did not have the ideal conditions yet to test the boosting capabilities of these kites. However, I did get a good feel based on the lower wind sessions. I found the trigger to be a bit easier to jump higher. The hang time and probably the boosting potential is less on both kites compared to the main 5-strut big air boosters such as the duotone Rebel or Core XR. But for a kite this fast it definitely performs really well. My preference would be the trigger for boosting high, although in nuking conditions I might prefer the pace because of the kite's stability. Which brings me to the next part of the review. One possible downside I want to mention about the trigger is that it seems less stable than the pace and other kites I have tested. In stronger winds and gustier winds it will jump around a bit in the wind window and it feels really nervous. I reckon this can feel pretty sketchy in nuking conditions. This is mainly an issue when standing on the beach, not so much when riding, because when riding there is more line tension. I don't really have good footage of this problem, but it's definitely a noticeable difference. So to wrap it up, a short note about the low end of this kite. Just for the test I tried to ride a 9-meter trigger in about 15 knots. I could ride up and down in relatively flat water, but nothing more than that. However, all my sessions on this kite so far were in light wind and I had a lot of fun on most sessions. So the low end is not bad at all. I've been using the duotone Evo SLS a lot and the low end felt similar to that kite. I feel like the low end is also slightly better on the trigger than the pace. The low end is for sure better than, for example, a duotone Rebel or a Core XR from my experience. Overall, both kites are great in my opinion, especially when progressing into kite loops. My personal preference would be the trigger based on the few sessions I had on both kites. Thanks for watching and leave a like and comment if you like this type of content. See you on the water!